thinking of buying, selling, or relocating to the Calgary area and want to live in one of the best regions of the city, I'm here on location today in the west end of Calgary, one of the most affluent and scenic areas of the city, but there are some negatives. My name is Ryan Gillard at Real Broker, your Calgary Realtor, and in this video I'll go over all of the pros and cons of living in the west end of Calgary. And if you are watching this video and you could use some help, I'd love to be a resource. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. All right, let's get into it. All right, first things first here, I'll show you on the map which area I'm referring to. And the Calgary Real Estate Board, as you can see, breaks down the city into different regions. And the region that we're talking about is this kind of peach area right over here, the west side. And not the mailing address southwest, which would be everything south of the river to McLeod Trail as the dividing line. So all of this is the mail address southwest, but we're just referring to this section right over here, the west side. And it's a very scenic part of Calgary, as you can see. I'll show you the relief map here. So this is downtown, this is the west side, very hilly, very foothills-like, excellent views of the Rocky Mountains, which we'll get into. And you can see in the satellite map here as well, this ridge separating northwest and the west side, and downtown over here. And we're talking about this region right over here. And point number one of living in the west region of Calgary, and my favorite point of this part of the city is I think it's the most scenic part of Calgary. So you got excellent views and great proximity to nature. And here are some of the reasons in more detail. And first up, living in the west end, as you can see from that relief map that I showed you, it is higher elevation compared to many parts of Calgary. And many homes and neighborhoods have stunning panoramic views of the Rocky Mountains. And the west region of Calgary is located in the foothills that lead to the Rocky Mountains, which offers numerous outdoor recreational opportunities and easy access to some of the best parks in the city, which I'll get into as we go along here. And these parks offer residents quick access to lush green spaces, hiking trails, and natural habitats. And living on the west side of Calgary, it gives you closer access to world-class destinations like Banff, Canmore, just a short drive away from the west side of Calgary. So you got easy access for skiing, hiking, relaxing, running, cycling, all sorts of activities that you can do in the Rocky Mountains. And the last point here is that if you are someone that likes natural scenery, this is the spot in Calgary to be. You could be out driving around and just like pull over and take a picture or a video. It is stunningly beautiful. You've got lots of green spaces, lots of tree-lined streets, pathways, parks. And it's good for those who like a bit of the city and a bit of nature at the same time, because it's not all that far from downtown as well. Like you could be downtown and then 20 minutes later, you're in a place like Griffith Woods Park that looks like you're completely out in the boonies somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. It just looks completely different than the rest of the city, and it's not all that far from the downtown. And point number two, I would say the west side of Calgary, it's a very rich area. It's very affluent, and you'll see a lot of custom luxury estate type properties, and it attracts people looking for a high standard of living. And the west side is known for its large, luxurious homes, many of which are custom built and located on huge lots. Neighborhoods like Aspen Woods, Springbank Hill, West Springs, Lakeview Village, they've got multi-million-dollar properties that feature high-end finishes, modern designs, and spacious layouts with outstanding architectural quality. You've also got obviously higher property values due to the premium nature of the properties here, and it's just more expensive than other parts of the city. And obviously, due to the premium nature of the real estate, just the property values are higher in this part of Calgary compared to other parts of the city. And I do believe that the west side actually has the highest average benchmark price across all product types. And you've got meticulously designed master plan neighborhoods. And what that means is they're just thoughtfully designed and they focus on everything put together, like the aesthetics, functionality, and community cohesion. You got wide streets, green belts, architectural guidelines that ensure the neighborhoods maintain kind of the same feel and character. And you've also got a lot of privacy and seclusion in this part of the city. There are some gated areas on the west side. You've got quiet cul-de-sacs, larger lots, and it's just a very rich and affluent area, very private and very safe and secure. And point number three, the west side of Calgary is home to some of the best public and private schools in the entire city, making it a top choice for families with children. So in terms of private schools, there's a high concentration of them on the west side of Calgary. You've got schools such as Weber Academy, Rundle College, and Calgary Academy. These are internationally recognized, very prestigious schools. They've got state-of-the-art facilities that attract highly qualified teachers, and they've got really strong reputations. In terms of public schools, there's a lot of good options with strong academic programs. You've got schools like Ernest Manning High School, Vincent Massey School, West Springs School, just to name a few. And they've all got new and modern facilities as well. And I'd say both private and public schools in the area offer extensive extracurricular activities. And you've got competitive sports teams, arts programs, leadership opportunities, stuff like that. And again, I think both public and private schools in this part of the city, they just have high standards and a great reputation. And the next point, the west side is relatively quiet and peaceful. Again, it's a very rich area, but it's primarily just residential with the odd, strip mall or shopping complex here and there. You don't really see any like warehouses or factories, like industry. Again, it's just residential. So that's a pro that it's, quiet and peaceful. But it's also a con in that if you live there, you're probably going to have to commute to downtown or to the industrial areas of the city for work, because again, it's just primarily residential with some retail outlets here and there. And next up, I'll go over some of the top amenities on the west side of Calgary, which there are many, and I'll start off with the recreation facilities. And first up is the Westside Recreation Center, one of the key attractions on the west side of the city. This is a new-ish state-of-the-art facility offering a wide range of activities. You've got a wave pool, water slide, lap pool, a fitness center, indoor climbing walls, an ice arena, running track, and multiple gyms for various sports. We've also got Wind Sport, or the Canada Olympic Park, it's also called. This provides a year-round venue for sports and recreation, including skiing and snowboarding in the wintertime. This is directly in the city as well. We've got biking, ziplining, and summer camps in the summer months, obviously. And the facility also houses indoor hockey rinks, bobsleigh tracks, and a luge course. And there's also plenty of parks on the west side of the city, and some pretty nice ones as well, like Griffith Woods Park, it's hard to say, Edwardy Park, and Shoaldice Park. These parks offer vast green spaces, picnic areas, playgrounds, pathways for walking, jogging, and cycling. And they're pretty impressive. Like the Edwardy Park is on the ridge overlooking the northern part of the city and the Bow River. Excellent views from there. And Griffith Woods Park is quite the opposite. It's on the southern end, and it looks like you're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Like it is a very rugged park, and just has the area has a wide range of parks. And I should also mention the southern end of the west side has the Glenmore Reservoir, which is the drinking supply for the city, but you can also sail on it, and there's lots of walking paths and jogging trails around the reservoir. And just throughout the entire west side, lots of the neighborhoods have these pathways that connect all throughout the neighborhoods. And there's also the Strathcona Park, Christie Park, Strathcona Park. There's like a bit of a ravine in the middle of it. There's all sorts of cool little parks like this throughout the west side. And I should also mention lots of golf courses around here. There's Valley Ridge and Shaganappy golf courses directly in the west end, but there's a whole bunch more just to the west of the west side in the Springbank area. All sorts of really high-end golf courses out there. And next up is shopping. And on the west side, the main shopping center is the West Hills Town Center. This complex is massive. It's got pretty much everything they could possibly want. It's at the southern end of the west side, so it is a bit of a drive from some parts of the west end. But again, the west end's not huge, so it's maybe a 10-15 minute drive depending on where you're at. We've also got the Aspen Landing Shopping Center. This is pretty nice. It's one of the nicest looking strip malls I've seen in the city. There's a bit of a waterfall at the front, and it's got more boutique stores, grocery shops, restaurants, cafes, and stuff like that. You'll see other complexes throughout the neighborhood, like on 85th Street and 69th Street, and throughout some of the neighborhoods. For transportation, the C train, it runs from the downtown all the way to, I believe, 69th Street, all along 17th Avenue. And it doesn't cover all of the west side, but it's not too hard to get here from other parts of the region. And you've also got easy access to the Ring Road now that goes all the way around the city. And this was just completed finally, I think maybe half a year back. And this has really opened up the west side of the city now. Moving along, let's talk about some of the negative aspects of living on the west side of Calgary. Now, truthfully, there's not too much to dislike about the west side, But there are a couple things here and there, and I've scoured the internet. I've got help with ChatGPT, and I'll go over some of the points that they brought up, and starting with the high cost of real estate. And looking at the West District, you can tell it's pricey. So the total residential price, $732,900, up 7.4% year over year. This is the average of detached homes, duplexes, townhouses, and condos. And they're all fairly pricey. This average is actually the highest in Calgary out of all of the regions. And so the average price of a detached home, $981,700, up almost 11% over last year. A duplex is $818,600, up 9.4%. And townhouses, $481,500, up 15.4%. And lastly, condos up a whopping 19.4% year over year to $364,500. And the next point from ChatGPT is limited public transportation options. Now, I'd say this is yes and no. The C-Train line does run from downtown through the west end of the city to, I believe, the 69th Street is the last stop. And I think they're probably going to expand it to 85th and at some point in the future. So there is transit, and it's just one line. It runs along 17th Avenue. So you'll have to connect to that line to get downtown. So it's not terrible. The west side is not a huge geographic region, so it's not too hard to get to the C-Train from other parts of the area. So I would say yes and no on this point. Next point is the distance from downtown. Now, I disagree with this. I disagree with ChatGPT's take on this. The distance from downtown to the outskirts of the West End, places like Aspenwood, Springbank Hill, is shorter, less distance than going from downtown to the deep south or the deep north. So I don't find the commuting is all that bad from the west side. So on this point, I don't agree that it has a big distance to the downtown. Next point, lack of nightlife and entertainment. I would agree on this point. I never go to the West End for entertainment options. Again, the West End, in my mind, is just like a residential area with a few shopping complexes here and there. There's not known for like exciting nightlife and stuff like that. I'm sure in the West Hills you'll find like place like the Keg or like Boston Pizza and stuff like that. So there are dining options, but it's not known to be a very lively, and there's no red light district of the West Side. Next point is construction. Now, this point I'd say yes and no. And the thing about the west side, we can't really expand all that much further west just because the Springbank area is like luxury, country estate acreages. And I can't see Calgary expanding that direction too much further. And we also have the native reserve. So I think we're almost built out in the west side, but there are certain pockets like around Aspen Woods and Springbank Hill where there's lots of construction still. But overall, it's not that bad. It's way better than like the deep north or the deep south, which is always under construction. Next point, if you are watching this video and you're thinking of renting, the west side is not known for having a huge stock of rental properties. So if you're looking in this part of town and that's your goal, you might find limited options. And the last point, fewer cultural activities. Now, this is kind of what I already mentioned, that the west side is primarily just a residential area. It's very quiet. There's not much in terms of industry, and there's not much in terms of nightlife. It's just a very safe, clean, rich part of town. And for that sort of thing, you'll probably have to go to downtown for like the nightlife options and the festivals and stuff like that. But again, downtown to the west end or vice versa is not that long of a commute, 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. So it's not a deal breaker in my opinion. All right, we're done here. And again, if you are thinking of making a move, I'd love to be a resource. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Love to help you out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.